Welcome to Law Talk Today, a series devoted to bringing you informative and educational programs focused on issues of law, government, and community.
Good evening and welcome to Law Talk Today. My name is Mark Gruber. I'm your host for the evening. On this show each week, we talk about the law, we interview people in the know, and we discuss a variety of legal topics. Our topics range from battered women to judges to lawyers. Tonight's show will be a little bit different. We're going to be interviewing an expert in handwriting. So this show is going to be on handwriting and all the things that go with it. We have a very interesting guest tonight, a handwriting expert whose job it has been for many years to offer expert testimony in courts and for companies and people on handwriting. So I want to welcome Bob Baier to the show. Welcome, Bob.
Thank you very much.
Bob, now listen, you know, when you have an expert and you're in court, the lawyer has to qualify the expert in front of the judge. So let's make believe we got a judge out there. In fact, the audience, you be the judge. I have to qualify Bob as an expert. So what I would say if we were in court, I would say, well, Mr. Baier, could you please tell me what your experience is in handwriting?
I have been an expert for many years. I have done training. I went to the School of Forensic Document Examination, a 2-year program. I also trained in the American Institute of Applied Sciences for document examination. I have attended many conferences. I also train law enforcement in New York and Orange County, as well as recruits. I have 3 different degrees: Associate of Science, Bachelor of Science, Master of Arts. I have spoken at national conferences.
I'm going to get there. How long have you been doing this?
Actually, I began my career, I've been a handwriting expert since mid-90s.
Okay.
But for document examination, since 2003.
All right, and you're employed by whom?
I am self-employed.
Okay. And have you been ever been qualified in a court before as a handwriting expert?
Every single time I've ever gone to court, I have been qualified. And you're right, you could go 200 times. And every time you have to be qualified by the judge at that time.
Can you tell us what courts you've been qualified in?
Yeah, I have testified as an expert in 8 different states. I have in New York, I've testified in Brooklyn, Queens, Manhattan, White Plains, Goshen, Ithaca, and Syracuse. Some of the other states, New Jersey, Connecticut, Kentucky, Indiana, South Carolina. I know I'm missing one, too.
That's a lot. Now, I also understand that you've appeared on some national TV.
I was on the show Inside Edition.
Okay.
I've been in ESPN magazine, some other local magazines, national radio.
And how many opinions on handwriting do you think you've rendered in your career?
Personally, I've done definitely more than 340 on different cases.
Okay. Now, Your Honor, I ask that Mr. Baier be considered an expert in handwriting. You be the judge. All right, you're admitted. You're an expert. You're here. Okay. Let's talk about what is the science of handwriting expertise. How does it break down? There are 2 different types, are there?
Yes, there are 2 totally separate fields in handwriting.
And what are they?
One is graphology, graphoanalysis, handwriting analysis. And the other one is document examination. One has personality profiling or personality, individual characteristics you can tell about someone from their handwriting. So they identify personality characteristics. The document examiners identify the writer.
Okay, and it's the document examination. I gather you do more of that than the other?
Almost exclusively at this point. Right. It pays more. And I have a couple of kids in college.
There you go. Now, what type of cases do you normally have?
They really range. God, I get them in everything you can think of. My most common case used to be forged wills.
Okay.
And it was the same on every case. 2 weeks after the last parent died, a sibling would show up with a brand new will. No one had ever heard about it before. No one had ever seen it. Of course, no one else is in it but that one child, and there's no original document.
Okay.
And that was my most common case. Now I seem to be getting a lot more financial forms from banks, taking out a loan. You fill out a form, purchasing a car from a dealership. That one seems to be on the rise a little bit. But I get forged checks. I get graffiti, hate crime. I get forged contracts. And I have a number of cases, individual cases, that we could discuss after.
Well, I want to go back to the wills.
Go ahead.
all right? And you said that there's not an original. Why is that?
Well, I think I shouldn't say most. I think there are some people who really know that if we get the original document, there are certain things we can tell about an original document, about a signature, that we can't tell from a photocopy. So if they've done any little research or anything like that, they want to make sure that there's no original.
Okay, and so go through the mechanics of your analysis on the forged will.
Let me just back, if I may.
Go. Good.
Handwriting is a learned skill.
Okay.
There are handwriting habits that are unique to every single adult. It's almost like a fingerprint of the mind.
Okay.
And for the viewers at home, I would like to just explain a couple of those.
Go ahead.
If they're signing their name to a check, and I had 25 samples, which is what we like to get, every single time they sign on the signature line on a check, they start at the same spot. It might be a 1/4 inch in from the end of the line. It might be 3/8 of an inch. It might be above the line, below the line, to the left of the line, but it's going to be consistent. So if I analyze them all, they're unconscious habits. People don't even know they have habits. So it's our job to go in and study those habits. If you're writing the date on a check, some people will do 10/14/09. Some people will do 10-14-. And even amongst the slashes, one will be higher than the other, but they'll all be the same. The distance between the numbers and the slashes, between the numbers and themselves, will be different. There's just tons of handwriting habits.
All right, now, what do you call those? Markers or factors or traits?
Yeah.
And did you tell me there were 100 of those or so?
No, that was in the handwriting analysis.
Oh, okay. All right, we'll do that one later. All right, so somebody comes to you and says, Bob, this has to be a forgery. I want you to analyze it. Okay? So you then get the person's dead who signed the will, right?
Yep.
So what kind of samples do you get?
Usually there's enough samples that they have. Most people do have a checking account.
Okay.
There are usually samples. There could have been medical forms as they were going into the hospital to get treatment and things like that. There are also documents that are in public record. If you ever took out a loan, every time you vote, you have to sign your name on a page. So sometimes on those pages at the county clerk's office, there could be 20 signatures.
Oh, yeah, yeah.
There's like 100 places to get suitable signatures.
You got 25 samples on just my voter card in my local town, because I go there every
time
election,
you go in.
and there's every year, right in a row. You're right. All right, and so you analyze it, and you make a report.
Correct.
Right? And
well, it's not always in my client's favor. I get
Okay.
flat out lied to.
Yeah.
What I consider a lot.
Well, you got to call it the way you see it, right? Otherwise,
well, you can tell if it's their signature or not.
Yeah.
You know, if I have enough samples.
Well, I'm a lawyer, and I get a lot of times I get documents, and I look at them, and I compare like a tax return with a check, and you put them next to each other, and I go, yeah, looks like it's the same, or it looks like it's not. That's as far as I can go. But you're very analytical. When you write the report, how many different factors do you add up to a forgery?
Well, I was trained to actually do a short form, unless it's a federal case. Federal case, you gotta put it all in. The short form would basically just give my opinion, list all of the documents that you analyzed, give your opinion, either it is or it isn't, or what shade of gray. We have like a bunch of shades of gray, I guess you could say.
Okay.
Inconclusive, which is pretty rare.
All right.
Probably was, probably wasn't. Highly probable that it was, highly probable that it wasn't.